the person that you're trying to help is going to be willing to cooperate with you to the degree that you have the right kind of relationship with him or her or enterprise, whatever it happens to be. All right. So the way I do this is usually ask people if they had a problem and felt that they would be helped by going to some type of help or paraprofessional, or friend for some help, what kind of person would they be willing to go to?
Now, just for everyone's understanding, now obviously I've read your book, so I understand what you mean by professional and paraprofessional, but could you just share exactly what you mean by this? Just so everyone's singing off the same song sheet.
Well, years and years ago, a bit of research was done by Professor Durlak, actually at Loyola University. And he said, are people who have the set of skills that we're talking about here, what type of counselors are they? Are they inferior to highly educated and accredited counselors or therapists? His research shows that people who had this set of skills, even though they didn't have the academic background and related to these skills, were as effective as professionals. So they used the term, they were not professionals, professional then meaning accredited.
Accredited, so back then.
So academically.
Certified and accredited.
Yes.
So this actually helps us to kind of categorize two different types of helpers. We have those professional helpers who might operate in more of a psychological context or a psychiatric context. And then we have those who we would refer to as paraprofessionals, being coaches, mentors, teachers, managers, leaders.
Yeah, there's a whole variety. What you're describing is a whole variety of ways in which you can be a paraprofessional helper.
Now, it's interesting because over the last decade, perhaps 2 decades, as I've been aware of, many people who operate in this context as coaches and therapists and practitioners are led to believe by many governing bodies and organizations that accreditation is actually required to operate in this field.
Yes, well.
Which is a bit of a problem, isn't it, presenting many new or aspiring helpers today?
Well, I have problems with the way in which people are accredited to begin with. A piece of paper was put under my nose some 40 or 50 years ago and said, sign this and you will be accredited, because of the work that I had done up to that point. I said, no. He says, what do you mean, no? You'll make more money if you're accredited.
You'll make more money if you're accredited.
I laughed and I said, I do not believe in the process in place at that time for accrediting people. It was much too academic. And it's like going to a doctor and saying, I have a gallbladder that needs to come out. And he says, I know everything in the world about gallbladders.
I've read all the books.
Yes, I've read all the books. I've done research on gallbladders.
I'm accredited in gallbladder.
Well, I'm accredited in surgery.
Surgery.
I said, how about removing gallbladder? I've never done that, he said.
But I'm accredited.
But don't worry.
Could I just ask one question here? Because it's going to be, I'm hoping, your response to this question is going to be massively validating for many of what has been referred to as paraprofessionals. By that, obviously, multidisciplinary practitioners, coaches, mentors, teachers, so on and so forth. Jerry, you have been teaching counselling as a discipline for how many years?
More than I care to count, but go ahead.
Around about 30, 40 years?
Go ahead.
Something like that. Okay, so moving swiftly on.
Play your game.
So Jerry has been teaching counselling in universities and higher educational establishments for pretty much as long as what I've been alive. Jerry, have you ever been accredited?
No, I have not.
But other organisations have accredited your trainings?
Oh, yes, I never looked at it that way.
Sneaky little monkeys.
I still have misgivings about the accreditation process.
It's a money
But I
making.
don't want to make too big a deal with that because this is not the forum in which to take on the American Psychological Association or the American Counseling Association.
But it's useful to be aware of as helpers, because sometimes, I know when I first got into helping, and it wasn't that I would have defined myself as a professional helper. I set myself up as a life coach, as a mentor. For me, when I first got into helping, I would mentor a lot of ex-military service personnel, men, women, guys, girls, who were leaving the military. And the reason why this was relevant and appropriate for me was because that was the set of life experiences or the major problem in my life that I'd already overcome. So when it came to working with ex-military men and ex-military women, it wasn't my certifications and my accreditation that prepared me to work with these guys and girls. It was the understanding and the insights that only came through my life experiences.
I bet the best form of accreditation is competence. Let me give you an example of what I mean by competence. I worked with, when I was a young man, I worked with a paraprofessional whose job was to help, as he said it, help drunks deal with themselves. He was a fellow church member, and that was his kind of vocation. He had been a drunk himself, so he understood all the dynamics of being a drinker. And he did not let his clients, if you want to call them that, get away with it because he knew it. He was competent. He understood that. So the more you understand about a particular type of situation or problem situation or unused opportunity, the more effective that you can be. But competence comes from experience, not from accreditation.
And definitely not from a textbook. And this is possibly one of the most useful ideas that I'm thinking we could probably impart at this stage, because I know many people assume that in order to become a professional or paraprofessional helper, it's imperative to invest into thousands of pounds or dollars into certification trainings and accrediting organisations and all these sorts of things. But what I'm hoping this discussion has hopefully highlighted is that it's not information in textbooks, it's no certification, and it's certainly no accreditation that gives us insight or authority in life. Our ability to most effectively help and serve other people is going to come from the life experiences that we've actually already had. And ironically, many people that I've worked with over the years who've wanted to get into this lifestyle of helping people haven't done so because they feared that the set of life experiences that they'd already been through just weren't quite enough. And what I've done my best to share is that that's actually more than enough.
That's why we're dealing with the frameworks, the methods, the processes, and the skills that are the skills of daily life, but honed to a degree where they can spill over and help other people.